All right then. Good morning, beloveds. I'm on regular time because apparently he ended up sending us the workout. So we got the workout done in about 45 minutes, and so I had time to go deal with this before we did this. So I'm in normal time. So now we have to have a discussion of what's this going to look like going forward. So here we are. We are going to do the hidden power of the Bible. As soon as I start talking, Dante leaves. Like, he stays in here for the, setting up, but then he's gone. All right. So, we're doing the hidden power of the Bible. So let's do the housekeeping. And all the housekeeping is me reminding you that we are Creative Life Spiritual Center. Website is creativelife.org. Constant contact email, info@creativelife.org. It's one email a week, tells you what's going on for the week and the month, and the hot links are hot. So click here now means it. It is also a blind CC, so nobody is going to get your email. You won't end up on anybody else's email list because of us. That was awkward and weird. Sorry about that. And then I mentioned the social medias merely from the standpoint of we do not monetize them. We don't want to deal with the ads any more than you do. So we ask you instead, go like, subscribe, follow based on which platform you're on, and then engage with the individual post by reacting, commenting, and sharing. It bumps us in the algorithms. More people see our stuff. So it's a free and easy way that you can support the center by getting our stuff in front of more people. All right. Now, the hidden power of the Bible used to be called The Bible in Light of Religious Science, which is an awkward title. Which I actually have a copy of the book that says that. It's literally a copy of the book. There's a couple of companies that what they do is they literally photocopy the original, text, and then they bind it nicely. This is easier to read. Plus, this also has the preface from Reverend Jesse and the foreword from Ernest Holmes. So, that's why we're doing the hidden power of the Bible. Same book, just been republished. So, and it's, it's one of the books that Jesse uses when he teaches his Bible wisdom class. So here we are. Now, what we are doing, we are currently reading we are doing selected readings from the Hebrew Testament. I know what he calls them, and I'm not going to do that because Reverend Norm would have my head and he can't have it. And what we're currently working on is Genesis. So literally today, our article is titled The Story of Creation Simplified. To sum up the account of creation, let us say that someone, generally thought to have been Moses, is expounding his idea of how creation came into being, put his thoughts into the form of a story, giving them the world shrouded, of course, in symbolic language. Let us state this story in our own words and see what we shall have. God, meaning the Supreme Spirit of the universe, was conscious of itself before ever this world was created. Being thus conscious of itself as all and desiring to manifest in form, it did so manifest through the power of its word, which is law. Okay? God is not only pure spirit or intelligence, it is also perfect and immutable law. God, as pure spirit, governs the universe through the power of its word. Hence, when God speaks, the law must obey. The law is mechanical, the word is spontaneous. And God cannot speak a word which contradicts its own nature. Since God is pure intelligence and an endless being, God is always creating something. It is in its nature to create, being all. It must act within itself. The word of God, spoken within itself, sets the law, which is also within itself, in motion. The result is creation. The word is the mold which, acting through the law, produces form. As there are many words, so there are many forms, each distinct and each an individualized idea of God. Since the word of God is permanent, when it speaks, that word is equipped with the power to perpetuate itself. Okay. Even as the seed has the power within itself to reproduce its kind, it does not become another kind, for this would produce confusion, and the divine mind is never confused. God made the mechanical universe, the plant and animal life, but this did not satisfy it. For it wished to create a being who could respond to and understand it. Okay? So God wanted something that could understand God's own nature. Hence, he must create a being who has real life within itself. God can do this only by imparting God's own nature into this being. Okay, so all right. So God must make humanity in its own image and likeness. Humanity must be created out of the stuff of eternity if they are to have real being. Humanity must partake of the nature of divinity if it is to have real life. So God made humanity from the highest essence of itself and clothed this subtle essence with definite form. And God said within itself, if I wish to have a person who is a real being, I must give them self-choice. They must be spontaneous, not automatic. They must have dominion over everything that is of less intelligence than itself. I might argue about the dolphins, though. So, I would let them name everything that I have created, and they shall have all things to enjoy, for their life must be full and complete, if they are to express my nature. Okay? So, God gave humanity dominion over all earthly things. Humanity was not given the power to govern the universe, but it was given the power to have dominion. Okay, and I have a star and a question mark by that because, again, it's that word dominion. It's that word dominion. 100 years ago, it probably meant something different than what we think about right now. And so that matters, okay? Most of the time, what I do is when I translate the word dominion, I translate it to stewardship. We were not given the power to govern the universe because, one, how, but two. But we were given the power to have stewardship over earthly things, to create things, to guide the way things happen, to help things along. Dominion it's not a word that I would choose anymore. I'm not sure that I would ever choose it because, in my lifetime, it has always had kind of a meaning. So dominion, I read it as stewardship. So if that helps, okay? All right. Whew. And God, viewing all that it had created, saw that it was good, very good. How could it be otherwise since God had created it? How could God, being goodness, see other than good? And that's one of the arguments that I make on a regular basis. When God looks at you, all God sees is good because that is all God can see because that is God's nature. Okay? So, bear that in mind. The reader may smile at this rather human narrative and think that it makes God a very finite being. But remember, we are putting into human language a story which can really only be imagined. And that's one of the things that I always enjoy, because when Jesse talks about any story, including the Bible stories, especially if you look at creation that's across, cultures and religions, and they're fantastic stories, right? And one of the things that Jesse says that I like is that a lot of these stories probably started when a small child came to a grandparent and said, "Hey, how did this happen?" And the grandparents were like, "Well, let me tell you a story. We don't know, we weren't there. But it communicates an idea, and that is the whole point of a story." All right. Again, the evolutionists may say that this is all impossible because humanity has come up through the unconscious to the conscious. It is just because humanity has come up through the conscious, through the unconscious to the conscious, that these things can be true. Even God could not make a mechanical individuality. Individuality must ever partake of the nature and essence of spontaneity and self-choice, and can be produced only through evolution. But before anything can evolve, it must first be involved. Okay. Evolution is the way God works. But to the divine mind, time, space, and sequence cannot be realities, so God must view its work from the beginning as being complete and perfect. And that's where it stops. That's where it stops. I remember, growing up, we would talk about, evolution. And, if God created the world in 6 days, and how long is a day to God? That's the argument we would always have. So how could not, each of the epochs that created, like the dinosaurs one day in God, because God doesn't deal in time and space. God can't deal in time and space because, time and space is for the material world, and God is manifested in the material world, but is transcendent of the material world. So, I choose not to argue with people about that kind of thing because it doesn't matter. That's not even a fun argument. So, tomorrow we will pick up with humanity's spiritual nature. Oh, and then we get to talk about the fall. So, yay. Which probably means that what I'll do is one day I will read you the story, and the next day I'm going to read you what Ernest thinks about it. But, so, he's telling you what he thinks about creation. And we don't know, we weren't there. But that doesn't make it any less true. And I know you've heard Jesse say that. And that's actually a quote from somebody. I don't know. I wasn't there is a quote from somebody, and I don't remember who it is. But it's still a true story. Okay? Because it communicates an idea. And that's all it takes to make a story true. Does it make it factual? No. But it's still true. All right. And that's one of those, metaphorical ideas that you just have to wrap your head around. All right, I'm going to move on to the process of my day. So I'm going to encourage you to have a great day, a wondrous day, a fantastic day, a magical day, an enchanted day, a wonderful day, an awesome day, an amazing day. Hey, you got this day. A take care of yourself day. A drink plenty of water day. A be aware of the heat day. A do what you got to do day. A make sure you make time to sit down and rest day. A do something just for fun day. A welcome to July day. Yeah, because it's July 1st. Take care of whatever it is that you've been putting off day. Tell somebody you love them day. You got this day. I know I've already said that, but it's important. You need to hear it again. A good day. And if that is too much pressure, because occasionally it is, simply have a day. You are enough, just as you are. You are a beloved expression of the divine. You are a brilliant light, divine spark, spirit in motion, God in action, and an absolutely beautiful masterpiece. And a work in progress at the same time at your own pace. And Yes, I hear you. You can come up. Come on. Because, the cat distracted me. As Reverend Jesse likes to say, you are a godling. So explore the truth of your being. Get to know who the divine knows you to be, because the divine knows you to be good. And from there, anything is possible. Anything at all is possible. All right, beloveds. Oh. Because all the divine knows is good. That's what we were talking about in the reading today. And I'm going to, stop being distracted? Probably not. So I'm going to remind you that Reverend David will be on sometime this afternoon. And then I will be back with you tomorrow in the 9:15 space for man, the humanity's spiritual nature.